There is a specific kind of agony that life never prepares you to face. It's not the common heartbreak we all know. This is different. This is when you've met the one person who felt like a mirror to your very soul. When every instinct screamed that you'd finally come home, and then that same person turns and walks away. This doesn't feel like a simple no. It feels like a cosmic level rejection, as if a fundamental truth about your existence was glimpsed and then violently denied. And the questions start to devour you from the inside. You lie awake asking, how could the one person meant to recognize me not see me at all? The most corrosive part is the self-doubt that follows. Was the connection real, or just a beautiful story I told myself because I was so desperate to be loved? But I need you to hear this and hold on to it tightly. This rejection you're experiencing might not be a conclusion. It could very well be the brutal, necessary start of the most significant evolution of your life.
That unbearable ache in your chest could be the first signal that you're being prepared for a depth of change you never asked for, but desperately need. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung offered a crucial insight.
He understood that not every profound soul connection is destined to become a lifelong partnership. Some individuals enter our path purely to wake us up. They arrive to help us heal wounds we'd learned to ignore. And others, they come to shatter our world so completely that we have no choice but to rebuild ourselves into who we were always meant to become. That is the hidden potential within a twin flame rejection. It can be the catalyst for your soul's most crucial growth.
So perhaps this isn't about being denied. Perhaps you are being selected for a journey far more significant than the relationship you believe you lost.
But to truly grasp this, we must first strip away the myths and see what a twin flame connection actually represents. Jung didn't use the term twin flame, but his work on the anima and animus, on synchronicity and individuation, gives us the clearest framework. From this perspective, your twin flame is not someone who completes you as if you were a broken half. It's far more profound. A twin flame is a person who perfectly reflects the projection of your inner counterpart, the masculine within the feminine, or the feminine within the masculine. When you encounter them, it feels less like falling in love and more like a profound recognition. You are meeting disowned parts of yourself, staring back at you through their eyes. That's why the pull is so immediate and overwhelming, as if you've known them across lifetimes. But here is the truth that is rarely spoken aloud. Twin flames do not always come to stay. In fact, their purpose is often not to comfort you, but to break you open, to challenge the very foundations you've built your identity upon. They arrive to force a growth that would remain dormant in a life of comfort and ease. And when they leave, it's frequently because the two souls are in different stages of their individual journeys. You may be ready to embrace the intensity while they are still held back by ancient fears, family patterns, or a simple lack of emotional capacity to handle such a force. That doesn't invalidate the bond. It simply means the alignment of timing and readiness wasn't there. This rejection isn't like any other. The pain is deeper, almost spiritual. It's the ache of your innermost self, the hidden layers of your psyche, recognizing a chance for wholeness and then having the door close. It genuinely feels like your soul has been refused. And in a way, it has. But this is where everything changes. Jung revealed that this kind of denial is not a final verdict, it is an initiation. When your twin flame rejects you, they inadvertently push you back toward your own center. They leave you with no other option but to search within for the very qualities you believed only they could provide. That pain becomes the fuel for a journey of self-discovery you might never have chosen voluntarily. Their no becomes the doorway to your deepest transformation. And now that you see the true nature of this connection and why the hurt cut so deep, you are ready to understand the 5 distinct stages that unfold. Each stage carries its own weight and struggle, but also its own hidden gift. The first stage following rejection is what Jung might describe as the dissolution of the ego. It's when your entire understanding of love, destiny, and your own value in another's eyes suddenly crumbles into dust. Mystics have named this the dark night of the soul. Jung saw it as a necessary demolition of psychic structures that can no longer support your growth. In this stage, you doubt everything. You doubt the connection, your own sanity, your perception of reality. You feel isolated, as if you are navigating a private hurricane while the rest of the world carries on, oblivious. The pain here isn't just emotional, it's physical. Your chest constricts, your breath feels shallow, your stomach is an empty cavern. Jung knew that when the unconscious is awakened and then blocked, the body registers the shock. Every cell seems to grieve for what was lost, and in your desperation, you will likely try to numb it. You'll scroll through old photos late into the night, hoping for a sign. You might orchestrate chance meetings or draft long, pleading messages, believing that if you just explain it correctly, they will understand and return. But these actions only deepen the despair, eroding your self-respect layer by layer. Even the social mask you wear, the persona, begins to crack. You can't perform at work. You feel distant from friends. It's as if the person you thought you were is too small to contain this new, vast pain. And as terrible as this feels, it is precisely the point, because the truth of this first stage is this: it is not a sign of brokenness. It is sacred. It is your soul's method of dismantling everything false and fragile, so that something authentic and resilient can finally emerge. Jung studied alchemy extensively, and he saw that all genuine transformation begins in what the alchemists called the nigredo, the black stage of decay and dissolution. It is the process of breaking down the old so the new can take form. This disintegration is not evidence that you are falling apart forever.
It is proof that you are finally ready to change in ways you previously couldn't. The person you were before this connection did not have the capacity to hold the kind of love and awareness this experience is calling forth.
That version of you must undergo a symbolic death so that a more mature, more complete self can be born. The rejection was the spark. The pain you feel is the labor of your own rebirth. This is why you must not run from this ache. Don't try to sedate it with rebounds, endless distraction, or any other form of emotional anesthesia. Jung believed that suffering, when faced with conscious awareness, when you allow yourself to fully feel it instead of fleeing, is what transmutes you. You have to walk through this darkness. There are no safe detours. So let yourself admit that you no longer know who you are. Let yourself accept that your old beliefs about love have shattered. Let yourself sit in the terrifying uncertainty. This surrender to not knowing is the first genuine step toward the reconstruction waiting for you on the other side. And then arrives the second stage, which can be even more treacherous: obsession. Your mind, desperate to create order from the chaos, latches onto the person who rejected you as the sole answer to your turmoil. Jung viewed this as the anima or animus running wild, trapping all your psychic energy in the image of this one individual. This is the stage where you wake with them in your thoughts. They are your final thought at night, your entire day becomes a haunted landscape filled with their ghost. You replay every conversation, every glance, every touch, analyzing them for hidden clues that they felt it too, that maybe they are just frightened, that if you love them enough, they will eventually return. But obsession carries a deceptive sweetness. It feels like intimacy, like you are keeping the bond alive by thinking of them constantly, yet in reality you are only clinging to an echo. The fantasy is addictive because each time you indulge, your brain gives you a small hit of dopamine, a fleeting relief. But like any addiction, the relief is temporary, and soon you need more of the fantasy to feel any comfort at all, sinking you deeper into the loop. In this obsessive state, you lose connection with the present. Your energy is trapped in an inner world where you are together, where they finally see the truth. Meanwhile, your actual life passes by unnoticed. You are with friends but not hearing them. You are at work but not truly there. Your body is present, but your soul is living in a parallel reality where the story had a different ending. This stage manifests in behaviors that, if you saw them in someone else, you'd recognize as unhealthy. But when it's you, it feels impossible to stop. You check their social media as a daily ritual. You might drive past their favorite places, hoping for a synchronistic encounter. You ask mutual friends about them, hungry for any scrap of information that feeds the fantasy that things could still change. And then there's the magical thinking. The universe seems to be sending you signs. Every song on the radio is about your story. Every repeating number is a secret message from fate. Every dream feels like a divine communication telling you to hold on. Jung acknowledged that synchronicities are real, but he also warned how easily our unconscious desires can distort their meaning. In this stage, it's simple to mistake your own longing for cosmic truth. Obsession also involves intense idealization. The person who rejected you becomes flawless in your mind, the only soul who could ever truly understand you. Their imperfections fade, your differences are minimized. You are in love with a fantasy, a projection, not a real, complex human being. But Jung didn't see obsession as purely pathological. He understood it had a purpose. Obsession is the psyche's way of holding on to something profound that was awakened inside you through this person. Your unconscious knows this encounter stirred parts of yourself that are too vital to abandon, even if your conscious mind doesn't get it yet. The way out is not by brute force, by commanding yourself to stop thinking about them. That only makes it stronger. The way out is through a gradual realization. What you are chasing in them actually resides within you. Jung called this withdrawing the projection. It is the moment you begin to see that the qualities you adore in the other person are actually reflections of your own latent potential. So in this stage, instead of asking, will they come back? You start asking, what do they represent for me? What strength, what beauty, what wisdom do I see in them that I wish to cultivate in myself? Obsession begins to dissolve the instant you stop trying to possess those qualities through them and start nurturing them in your own soul. The third stage is when anger finally erupts to the surface. It's the moment the fantasy of maybe dies, and you are forced to confront the raw truth. They made a conscious choice not to choose you, and that realization ignites a fire. This anger has layers, each with its own role in your healing. The first layer is directed squarely at them. How could they not see the rarity of what was offered?